Hi guys, look at this circle. Does it have a beginning? Does it have an end? Well, like this circle, God has no beginning or end because God is eternal. God has always been alive and He will always be alive. There was never a time when God didn't exist. Now here's a line, and I'm going to put this dot to represent when I was born. I was born March 12th, 1966 in Walla Walla, Washington. Now, many of you know that I have 10 kids. Now, I'm going to make some dots on each of the days that they were born. Well, first, in 1991 was my son Josh. And then not long after, in 1992, was my daughter Maggie. Then there's my daughter Grace in 1994, and also in 1994, my son Jacob. Then in 1996 was my son Joey, and then 1997 was James. Then 2000 was Vivi, and then 2001 was Maria. And some of you might know Elijah and Aubrey. They were 2007. So each of these times were times of birth, and they had a beginning. Okay, well, unlike God, we all had a beginning. We were created by God, and one day we were born. I was alive before you, but I wasn't alive before God created me. And you weren't alive before God created you either. Everyone and everything else in the world, animals, trees, the ocean, the stars, and space, had a beginning. In front of you are bowls of Legos. Now, let's pretend that each of these Legos represents 1 year. Now, take a minute to stack as many Legos together as you are old. For example, I'm 54, so I would have to stack 54 Legos together. Ready? Go. Okay, now Sparks, ask Hannah how old she is. And in TNT, I want you to ask Lauren. When you find out, stack enough Legos together for their ages. Ready? Go. How many items would you need to show the number of years in eternity? Would the stacks you made fill a room, a church, a town, or something else? There are not enough items to be able to represent the years of eternity. We can't even count that high. God will be alive for all of eternity, and so will we. We each need to make a choice, though, about whether we'll be with God for eternity or not. If we tell God that we believe that Jesus, his son, died on the cross to take the punishment for our sin, we will live the rest of eternity in heaven with God. Psalm 92 says, "Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God." This verse is telling us what we've been talking about. God is everlasting or eternal. He always was, and he goes on forever. Okay, now in your group, find out who has the oldest living grandma or grandpa. And when you find out, see how quickly your group can make a tall tower of Legos representing the age of that grandparent. I'll give you 3 minutes. Well, our towers were tall, but God's tower would go on and on and on. It wouldn't have a beginning or an end, and that is what eternal means. Sparks, for next week, we are learning the last S in the word sparks. S is for saved. Acts 16:31. Believe on the Lord Jesus and you will be saved. TNT, next week you're going to review all the verses you've done so far, and I will give a king-size candy bar to those of you who can say all of your section 1 verses. See you next time.